Welcome to Family Vacations with Chris. Uh, right here, we are in somewhere. I think we're supposed to be in Belfast, Ireland. Yesterday we were in Dublin. My youngest and I went and did a tour. Let's go. All right. We went and did a tour of Dublin, so we got to see a lot and learn a lot about the history of Dublin. And one thing in particular was that I remember was the St. Patrick's Church. I think that's the one that has history, and the history of Ireland. He talked about the leprechauns and the Vikings, how Ireland has been taken over by so many things and has a lot of history and stuff like that. And now it's like they fight with Northern Ireland, but they're it's all political. They're all the same people, so it was interesting. It kind of hard to understand. Like they do speak English, but the R's, it's like they roll the R's, but it's a very lazy roll, so it's an L. So like Flend or Flea, they're Flea, stuff like that. So and then the TH is not a sound, but it's a T. So, which that makes sense too. Yeah, just a few things there. The others got to go make scones, and anyway, today we're supposed to be in Belfast, and still it's like 6:30 in the morning, so we haven't docked quite yet. And our excursion. A plane. Oh yes, there's a plane. Okay, so our excursion, we're going to go see sheepdogs and things like that. So we'll see how that goes. And sorry, it's not too long, but we'll catch you next time. Thanks. Bye.
Of a County Tyrone here. I don't know if these names are completely new to you. And the last one, and I always leave this to the last because it gives you a good illustration as to why Northern Ireland is divided. And we'll be driving into it very shortly. If you're a Protestant Unionist, you'll call this place Londonderry. And if you're an Irish nationalist, you'll call it Derry. Now, we're going to be pretty much, I think, in what would be regarded as a nationalist area today. So the people there will refer to it as you're in Derry, you're in County Derry. I could bring you to other parts of Northern Ireland and they'll tell you, no, you were in County Londonderry. So just maybe it's a symbol as to why we contest things here. But those are the 6 counties of Northern Ireland. And today you've been in 3 of them. County Down, County Antrim, and very shortly we're going to be in a fantastic place, the Spurren Mountains. It's an area of outstanding natural beauty and a panoramic view over Northern Ireland. You'll just love it here on James E. McCloy's Glen Shane sheep farm. But I don't want to talk too much about that because you're going to be there and you're going to experience that later on today's tour. So it's a wee bit grey and overcast here today. Our weather here. People say to me, Gerald, does it rain here all the time? I said, no, just most of the time. We get something like 180 days rain per year here. And in front of us is Loch Ness, folks. This is the biggest inland saltwater loch freshwater loch in Britain. And if you look at a map of Ireland and look at Northern Ireland, you're going to see this big loch right in the centre. And this is Loch Ness. Fantastic view. The Spurren Mountains in the background. This loch actually touches 5 of the 6 counties of Northern Ireland. So Loch Ness here just on our left. The only county that doesn't touch is touches our Lakeland county of Fermanagh. So we've got what's called an oceanic temperature here in Ireland. And you know what? For the most part, it ain't bad here because we don't get the extremes either way. We don't get extreme cold and we don't get extreme heat. Our average summer temperature here is only about 20 degrees centigrade. And our average winter is somewhere in the region of 1 to 2 degrees centigrade.
That'd be in the 30s.
The warmest day ever recorded here was recorded 4 years ago in County Tyrone, a little place called Castledurg. It was 31.3 degrees centigrade, warmest ever we've had in history. And strangely, quite an irony, our coldest ever day recorded was in exactly the same place, in Castledurg in County Tyrone in 2010, when it was minus 18.8.
Whoa.
So that's our weather, but we don't get a lot of the natural disasters that some parts of the world are afflicted with. So all in all, it's not too bad. They don't call us the Emerald Isle for nothing. They don't call us the Emerald Isle for nothing.
I want to ask if.
So yes, we're going now towards Friels Bar in a little place called Swatra in County Derry.
Well,
Make sure you call it County Derry when you're there, folks. If we're anywhere later on, and I'll tell you, call it County Londonderry here, please, folks.
I really haven't seen it.
So the Belfast Good Friday Agreement. We're bypassing a little place here called Toom, by the way. Short for Toom Bridge. And big fisheries there. They have a big eel fishing business there, given its proximity to the to Loch Ness. So we established a power sharing government here to ensure that both religious traditions were represented at the highest level. And the second part of the Belfast Good Friday Agreement was dual nationality. Because if I live in Northern Ireland and I'm an Irish nationalist, I'm now allowed to say I have an Irish passport, even though you're living in Northern Ireland, which is part of the UK. You can have an Irish passport. You can have, say I'm British and have a British passport, or more and more people today have both, a form of dual nationality. So that was the second key cornerstone of the agreement alongside power sharing. The third one was quite technical, but if you stay with me, it isn't so hard to understand. The Republic of Ireland had a territorial claim over Northern Ireland written into their constitution. They didn't accept that Northern Ireland was a part of Britain. But as a part of the Belfast Good Friday Agreement, they relinquished their territorial claim on Northern Ireland legally. And here's the situation, folks. Northern Ireland will remain part of the United Kingdom until the majority of people who live in Northern Ireland decide otherwise by way of a referendum. And that's the situation that exists here today.
Whoa.
You'll see Derry scrubbed out on the sign. I think this sign makes my point. I can just take you briefly back, folks. We're now in an area called Mid-Ulster. We're in the heart of rural Northern Ireland here, folks. I hope you're enjoying the landscape. Let me just tell you briefly the troubles. There was a battle over religion, also social issues as well, with regard to voting rights and houses, and political, and it's always political, isn't it? But this all hell broke loose. I hope you know the term here in 1969, when people were attacking one another. Ordinary people in interface areas, particularly in Belfast and in Derry, Londonderry, and it unleashed this spiral of violence that I unfortunately had to live through. I was only 9 when the trouble started in 1969. I think I've given away my age there, Rory. So I grew up with this, folks, and here's a personal thing. This is a very small country, and very few of us were unaffected by the troubles. And when I say that, I mean you've either witnessed something, or you had a family member, someone you knew, either killed or injured, myself included. So yeah, it was tough times, but we've come through them. Holstein freezing cows there, or dairy herd, folks, as the guy changes track swiftly. But it was an awful time here, folks, and it was Belfast was a no-go zone. There was a ring of steel round the city centre. There was nothing open after 6 o'clock at night. You couldn't have went to the shop without being searched. We were just sort of in lockdown. So we lost a lot of years. My children now say to me, Dad, what's these troubles all about? So I have to try and explain to you the same way as I'm trying to explain to you what it was like. Seamus Heaney, have you heard of Seamus Heaney? Very famous poet. This is his homeland here. He come from a little place called Balaki. There's a major visitor centre here. Seamus Heaney got the Nobel Prize for Literature. Very part of Britain. So, stepped forward a man called Lord Edward Carson, unionist politician, barrister and judge, and widely seen to be the founding father of Northern Ireland. He mobilised hundreds of thousands of people, signed a document called the Ulster Covenant, and they forced the Government of Ireland Act. And the Government of Ireland Act in 1921 partitioned Ireland. So Republic of Ireland became an independent country, and Northern Ireland broke away from the rest of Ireland and became part of the United Kingdom in 1921. So the next question I'm going to answer to you, how was the 6 counties picked? The 6 counties in Northern Ireland were picked because they had a Protestant Unionist majority. Because Northern Ireland was set up to have a perpetual, at least 70% Protestant Unionist majority who were loyal to Britain and loyal to the Crown. And that's how Northern Ireland was set up, my friends. From 1921, Northern Ireland had a Unionist Prime Minister. The first guy was a guy called Sir James Craig. His family had made a fortune out of the whisky distilling industry, and he governed Northern Ireland from 1921 to 1940. Strangely, the second Prime Minister was also a Unionist, a guy called John Andrews. His brother, Thomas Andrews, was the chief designer of the Titanic. Quite ironic. So we had a series of Unionist Prime Ministers, and we had inequality in voting rights, to be quite frank with you, inequality in housing. So the discontent was always there. So we continued with Unionist Prime Ministers. But in 1869, the nationalist Catholic population had mobilised. They had created a civil rights movement, and they were campaigning for equal rights in housing and voting rights. Civil Rights March got attacked. Various things happened throughout the country. The trouble did spread like wildfire here in 1869. The police couldn't cope, and the British Army were called onto the streets of Northern Ireland in 1869 to quell the trouble. They became embroiled in the trouble and became a part of the trouble, and were here for nearly 30 years. 3 years into the troubles in 1872, the government fell. We couldn't govern ourselves. The place was in disarray. Shootings, bombings, kidnappings, car bombs, all over the country, particularly Derry, Londonderry, and in Belfast. So in 1872, the government fell, and we were managed from Westminster in London by a British Secretary of State from 1972 up until 1998, the period of the Troubles, folks. But in 1998, we had what was called the Belfast Good Friday Agreement. And the Belfast Good Friday Agreement brought an end of almost 30 years of violence here. It killed 3,500 people, injured over 70,000. Reputation of the country in tatters, no tourism, no economy. But the Belfast Good Friday Agreement was the catalyst to unleash some of the things that you've seen, that I was able to proudly show you in the Titanic quarter. And the Belfast Good Friday Agreement was brokered by an American senator from Maine, a guy called George Mitchell, along with the British Prime Minister Tony Blair, and the Irish Prime Minister, a guy called Bertie Ahern. And the Irish word for Prime Minister is actually the Taoiseach. The local parties, Unionist and Nationalist, 2 of the politicians got the Nobel Peace Prize. Both gentlemen are now deceased. John Hume from the SDLP, a Nationalist, and David Trimble, a Unionist, were both awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for their efforts in bringing 30 years of mayhem to an end. Tell you an interesting story, folks. 3 days before the referendum, you would have heard of U2 and Bono. They were playing a concert in Belfast 3 days before the referendum here on whether we were going to accept the Good Friday Agreement. And emerging from each side of the stage was David Trimble on one side, John Hume on the other. They walked to the centre of the stage and they embraced with Bono. And it was a very strong symbol sent out particularly to the young people. And 3 days later we had a resounding vote in favour of the Good Friday Belfast Agreement. And you know, I'll take you back to the Troubles in a second, folks, but people said to me, Gerald, what's in this agreement? What did you do to stop all the mayhem? And there's nothing straightforward, and I've tried to decipher it as best I can to allow you people to understand. As I've said to you, Northern Ireland was set up to have a perpetual unionist majority. 100 years has eroded that. So we now had we had roughly the same amount of Catholics living in Northern Ireland as Protestants. So the first key pillar of the Belfast Good Friday Agreement was a power-sharing government instead of a unionist rule. So what we have is a First Minister and a Deputy First Minister representing both communities to ensure that both communities are represented at the highest level of government. And here's the key. The First Minister is the person who's from the biggest party, but they cannot make... Sorry, I'm going to park. I hope you're enjoying my history lesson. The driver's just reminded me I've got to take an order for food.
Oh.
I always get excited when I do this job, folks. So I'm going to come back to that if I may.
So first they take us to this bar and restaurant called Friel's, and I thought this, I didn't know what to expect, but this was actually part of the tour. We had that big long drive, a few hours, and as you could see, I was showing you more of what the guide was talking about because there's no way I was going to remember that. I do apologize for the video that was sideways. I didn't know at the time, so but it was more for listening to the guide. He did a good job of explaining what's going on in Northern Ireland and all that fun stuff there. But they take us out for lunch to a place called Friel's. This was a historic, like it says, a historic bar. They actually made part of it into a museum. I saw this and I was like, that's a cool piece of glass right there. And Friel's, it kind of reminded me of the Fries, F-R, well, I guess that's not spelled right either. F-R-E-I is how ours is spelled, and I thought, well, that's, and I did talk to them about this because they did talk about family and where they come from and everything else, and I did ask if there was any chance that the Fries could have been part of it, and they said, well, probably Fries are from Germany, and they said, well, maybe like a distant relation or something like that, but who knows. I did find out that the Fries are from Austria, or at least my line is, so take that into consideration. Friel's, part of it, like I told you, they turned some of these rooms. It was somebody's house. I believe it's Dr. Mooney's, and I'll show you this in a little bit. But they showed, pieces of what it looked like out there, and it talked a lot about the potato famine. So I'm guessing, and I forgot where I am, but the people of Swaktrach. I'm guessing that's where we are, what town we ended up in, and this town is not a touristic town. So I thought that was neat, being able to go to places that weren't touristic. And that's what this day was. But we go to this museum and learn about just how things were back in the day. And back in the day was in the 1830s. So they did have a in their town, it appeared that they had 2 carpenters, 1 blacksmith, a linen weaver, shoemaker, nailer, wheelwright, publican, and grocer, schoolmaster, 2 schoolmistresses, another 3 grocers, 16 farmers, a dressmaker, surgeon, miller, and I can't read the rest. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm just reading it. So, uh, uh, but that there was their wages. It looked like 5 pence or something like that. Let's see if we can get a better view. Right there, 5 shillings. Replica coins stamped for Hibernian crown and harp of the Clare Search. 5 shillings in 1830 would have been a day's wage for skilled work. Imagine that, getting 5 shillings a day. I don't know what the difference is, like how much 5 shillings is worth today, but I'm guessing 5 shillings is like 5 cents, 50 cents, or something like that a day. Yeah, let's take a look. Dr. Mooney. Yeah, and I do believe that this was his place. So he was the doctor, and they did talk a lot about him. I do have a video of, a clip of what a day like with Dr. Mooney would be, and it's kind of interesting how they did that. So I'll show you that.
House calls, 2 of which are further out towards Mahara, so maybe home a little late.
Oh, that's fine, dear. I'll manage. Besides, it won't be easier if I'm doing that. What do you have to see? Nothing too serious, I hope.
Well, I have 2 expectant mothers, one of whom is due any moment now, possibly today, knowing my luck. 2 vaccinations for smallpox, Mary Kelly's children, which hopefully won't take me too long. And another mum with chronic constipation. That's not enough time to visit the poor suffering soul, otherwise it'll have to wait until tomorrow. And finally, now that you ask, a case which does sound rather serious.
Oh, I see.
Yes, a woman with a sudden high temperature, possibly dysentery. Her brother described her symptoms. Mohi she could have, like ifrin fain. She feels as hot as hell itself.
Oh my goodness, Daniel. You must take every precaution so that you don't catch it yourself.
Don't trouble yourself, my dear, that'll be fine.
I do not mean to fuss, but dysentery can be fatal, and
in all my years living and working as a doctor in Swansea, have I ever once been plagued with any ailment or affliction I would call serious? Besides, do you not remember 1832, when I was appointed doctor of the village?
well, yes, I do. It was the year of the cholera epidemic.
Precisely, sir. It was a dreadful time when family after family was ravished by random disease. I shall never forget.
America, you very kindly sent back pumpkins, which are much easier to carve than turnips, which we have in the area, a lot easier. And we have St. Patrick's Day and things like that, and people all over the world that come back to visit us as well, which is fantastic. And we do have a ray of hope here in Swatra that we're going to learn about down the stairs. So we're going to go down these stairs when you're ready. The stairs are very steep. Most of you will have to duck. I don't. But most of the normal height people will have to duck, so just please do be very, very careful when down the stairs. That's me now, Dermot.
Okay, all the way up. Hang on, I'm going to do the door there.
Fascinating.
So you see there's a family wedding, and that was the father, mother, the 2 daughters. Father, the 1-year-old child, was died on the same day.
Oh.
So there was a book released a couple of years ago. There was 2,500 people in the workhouse in 1847 in this rural, small area. We lost about 25% of our population during that time. So it really was. And behind here
he obviously worked 9 to 11, except for Wednesdays and Sundays. Loved his family, uh, and took care of a lot of people, especially during the times of famine. And he did what he could to help others out. So as we were going through the museum, I did catch this picture. It's like, hey, here we are in Ireland. So on our cruise, we started down here in Cork and took a boat ride just right around here or something. And then Dublin, took a bus all over Dublin. Now we went up to Belfast. They did talk about the Titanic up there. There were other tours where you could see where the Titanic was made, and it appears that they are making another Titanic, called Titanic 2 or something like that. So that'll be interesting, as long as they, stay clear of those icebergs, right? So here we got on a bus, and then we took a long trip. It was like a couple hours or so. Um, and there they talked about dairy. So there's dairy, and I don't remember if we went through up to this side or if we were up here, but we're just up somewhere. Now, what I thought was interesting was just right here. Let's see if I can bring it down for you. Okay, I'm gonna. Yeah, so some of Star Wars was filmed right up here off the coast of Ireland. So I thought that was cool. I'm close to a place where Star Wars was filmed, and I don't remember which one. I'm wondering if it was number 7. Just because that makes sense with the the coast and stuff like that. Anywho, let's move on. So yeah, there's Ireland. Got close. So we go down into the bar. I love the signs. No stupid people. I'd have that sign. There's another one I liked that said, "If at first you don't succeed, you're fired." Others say, now this one's controversial because it says, "Do everything with love. Love your wife, your husband, your family, and mind, if possible, make love to your neighbor." Yeah, right. Don't do that. That's it's not good. Okay, yeah. So there's the first. If at first you don't succeed, you're fired. Old golfers never die; they just take more strokes. When men sweeps a woman off her feet, she usually lands in the kitchen. That's another one of those. It's like, no. Men and women should be equal in all things. Granted, okay. Here's my take though. Men and women should be equal in all things, but men are better at some things and women are better at some things. Doesn't mean that's what they have to do, but they should be a helpmeet for each other. Okay, so why do I have this picture? That's because they fed us, right? In fact, I think I have these in order. Not in order. So we had our choice of chicken or beef or something like that. Now all this stuff, all this food is basically grown here. So yeah, it was delicious. Even the cheesecake, they made the cheesecake from there. That's like, I don't remember if that was ice cream or whipped cream or something like that, but you got the chocolate glaze and everything, and that's not English, or that's European chocolate. So it was, my wife has this thing saying European chocolate is so much better. Well, I don't know if I could have, for me, I don't know if it was any better. So I still like American chocolate, but it's okay. It was really good though. Cheesecake. Oh, I didn't have the pictures of my other food. That's okay. So after we took our tour and had our lunch and stuff like that, we went and saw some sheepdogs. So these are purebred sheepdogs, and what's sad is the pictures I took were not the dogs that they used. But I just thought it was interesting. You know, they're all registered. Finn and Aaron. I don't remember if he used Finn or whatnot. And I did get the dog. Oh, they were so fun. It is really fascinating that each dog has their own, um, whistles and things like that for directions, what they need to do and where they need to go and stuff. And they wanted to work, and it was so cool to see sheepdogs at work. Here's another one. Unless this is the same one, I don't remember. Aaron and Finn. Nope. So, okay, yeah. So they took us out. We were all right there, and they had a group of sheep out there just hanging out. And the idea was to get the sheep to him, and that's what they did. So I will show you a video of that. Afterwards, we went into a barn that he already had some sheep ready to go, stuff like that, and he showed what they do. They sheared the sheep, and they used that wool for sweaters and things like that. They send it off to a place where they make string out of it, and he was talking about everybody has their own sheep, and so they have their own markings too. So I guess with theirs, it's a red marking just in case any of them get lost. It's like, oh, that's so and so's sheep. And this guy was cool. I just thought I thought he looked like a tauntaun. So so next time you watch Empire Strikes Back, take a look. It's like, oh yeah, he was just staring at me like that. So anywho, that's all I have for my pictures. Oh, nope. I got a story. This one, okay. He's been doing really good. So he doesn't like his picture taken, but the most fascinating thing for me was he asked his brother, "Hey, can you grab my phone and take a picture of me with this sheep?" And to me, that was the coolest thing to hear that, but because he hates pictures, he doesn't like to take them. But on this trip, he actually did really well. So anyway, I'll leave you with that and show you the dogs. I hope you enjoyed, and we'll catch you next time.
So that's why they come to a point of being used for this type of work. They supposedly have a larger heart, which again makes them very, very athletic. And these are all the components put together perfectly what we want to test. So we're going to send tests off either anti-clockwise or clockwise. Denise. So I'm going to ask Denise what way we're going to send tests, either this way or this way. So Denise is going to tell me, I'm going to tell Tess, Tess is going to tell the sheep, and if it all goes wrong, so I take no responsibility for anything that goes wrong. Okay. So what way would you like her to go? This way? This way. Perfect. So if we want Tess, or Denise wants Tess to go this way, Tess is waiting for me to tell her what way to go. If I said sky, stone, cloud, that means nothing to her. But if I say some things that she understands, like look, away. So she's going to shoot out really wide. The sheep still haven't caught on, but you'll notice once they do, they'll raise their heads. They're still grazing. Oh, yeah. I'm asking her to walk forward, bring the sheep towards me. So wherever I position the dog, the sheep are going to go in the opposite direction. Stand. Lie down. Get up. Get up. Get up. Walk. Walk. Get up. Come on. Get up. Walk. 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 Come on. Stand. Walk. Walk. Lie down. Lie down. Look back. Look. Walk. 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 Good. Yeah. Yes. Come on. Yes. Go home. Where's the young one? Where's the younger one that's always pushing the boundaries all the time? Yes, 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 yes. Pass, 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 pass. Lie down, lie down. Lie down. Jill. Sheesh, sheesh. Milan, 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 Milan. Sheesh, man. Sheesh, man. Yes, dear. Sheesh, man. If I want sheesh, man. If I want sheesh, sheesh. Man. If I want yes, go back. Sheesh. Yes, get back. Get back. And lie down. If I want her, sheesh. Sheesh. If I want. If I want. Yes. And Aaron's reading off my body language. And lie down. Gotcha. Sheesh. Sheesh. Gotcha. 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 So gotcha means clockwise. Gotcha. 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 Lie down. Give me that. Go home. Aaron, go home. We asked yes to bring them towards me. If I want to bring the sheep, sheesh. Like that. Pass, go home. Sheesh. On. 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 Lie down. Lie down. On. On. Down. Down. Yes. 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 Stand. Go home. Go home. Sheesh. Yes, lie down. Lie down. Back up. Back up. Chill. Sheesh. Chill. Chill. Good girl. Sheesh. Sheesh. That's all right. Sheesh. Go home. Go home. Go home. Lie down, Tess. Lie down, Jess. Good girl. Right. So, oh. Perfect. Stand up here. Just going around behind here. That's perfect. So, what's going to happen here, right? I just want you to hold this first of all. Okay. With one hand, take this hand way back. That's all right. Not even just relax. It's okay. Just to get a feel for this.
Oh yeah.
Right. Steady. So, what I'm going to do, and this is my hand. I like this hand. Okay. Is I'm going to do this to pull the skin a little bit tighter. It's actually just going to press the skin on this side. So you see what sometimes happens, sometimes happens. When people are getting start doing this, just relax and just go. Just keep it pushed against the skin.